Welcome, Husker fans. Thank you for tuning into Big Red Radio, the Husker Talk Show. I am your host, Caleb Jenneret. Next to me is my co-host, Zach Jenneret. Zach, how you doing today?
Oh, doing pretty good. I'm taking a couple weeks off, kind of let a lot of the dust settle down. It's hard to throw a video in when everything is going haywire.
Mhm.
But yeah, doing good. Uh, Calm down since the end of the season. Like watching other teams play in their conference championship games and ready to watch some of the bowl games happen. Just see how it all kind of plays out.
Yeah, excited for it for sure. Transfer portal has been insane, by the way. I think
Yeah, and I just want
that
to say
needs to be
something about
that
that.
needs to be regulated a little bit, but
I don't know. Here's my thought. Right, I know there's a lot of, I won't say older generation that doesn't like the transfer portal, I guess, because they don't think that people can commit to a team. Here's my thought. How can you expect a 17 or 18-year-old kid that is pressured by the entire country to make a decision that will impact him not only for the next 4 years, but for a lot of these kids the rest of their life, and make the right decision every single time, especially with all the changes that are happening right now? How
Mhm.
can you expect a kid straight out of high school to make a decision that'll affect his entire life and make the right decision every time? Like, if he wasn't a football player and he transferred, you wouldn't even bat an eye about it. But since he's a really good football player and he transfers, it's different.
Mhm.
It's like, come on.
Yeah,
Coaches can pick up and leave. Dion picked up and left. Why can't a player pick up and leave? It's only
right.
fair.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
And with these kids
interesting.
trying to go to the NFL and make a living out of it, they're going to do what's best for them, what's best for their future. It doesn't
Right.
matter with the team. I don't care if you're a starter or a third string.
Mhm.
There's a lot of people are saying, "Oh, these guys are transferring because they're backups." There's so many starters in the transfer portal, so many, because they're doing what's best for them, what's best for their future, not because they don't want adversity or whatever.
Yeah. And there's definitely been some people from Nebraska hit the transfer portal. The big names, Ernest Hausman, Jaden Gold, Gould, Jacques just hit it today. So yeah, just some big names. I expect a few more. But honestly, I think I expected a lot more to hit it than have already hit it. So I expected it, so I'm not upset about it. And I expected more, so I'm really not.
I
I'm
saw
excited
something
that
that
so many people are.
said I saw a thing that said we need about 10 or 15 more to hit it so we can open up scholarships to get Matt Rule's guys in here. Like, if you
Yeah.
want Matt Rule's team, you need about 10 or 15 more to hit the transfer portal, open up scholarships so that guy can recruit his guys in.
Right. And I expect a few more. I think Anthony Grant is staying because he's trying to actually recruit some guys to Nebraska. So I expect him to stay. We're still waiting on the Casey Thompson decision. I expect that to come relatively soon as Nebraska is showing interest reportedly in some of these transfer quarterbacks. So I'm sure they're just waiting as well, but they need to have backup plans. They don't want to get stuck with just nothing after Casey leaves. So yeah, before we get started, always remember, subscribe to the channel, leave a like, hit the bell, follow all the socials, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook, all linked in the description. We will be doing some TikTok exclusive content that you'll only see on the TikTok. So make sure you follow over there. But yeah, so today we're going to talk about the staff since it just got filled out earlier today or earlier yesterday when you're seeing this. We just hired our defensive coordinator. Hasn't officially been announced, but there's been some other hires recently as well. Some people retained that not a lot of people thought were retained. So yeah, do you want to start off with the defensive coordinator since that was the most recent one?
Yeah, so our defensive coordinator is Tony White. He was the defensive coordinator for Syracuse, and Syracuse was pretty good this year. Syracuse beat Illinois, I believe, or Purdue.
uh I'm not completely sure on that. They beat a lot of good teams. They were a good team. They kind of fell off towards the end of the year, but I know they're a really good team. They had a really good run game, had a really good defense. They started off really strong. I think they were 6-0 at one point. They
Yeah,
beat
so they beat Purdue.
yeah, they beat
Uh,
Purdue.
Beat Purdue 32-29. They held North Carolina State to 9 points. Right there with Clemson. Um,
They had some big wins in there. They beat NC State, like you said. That was a ranked team at the time. Syracuse was at one point ranked. I can't see how high they ended up getting. I think they got like 16 or 15, somewhere in there, which is crazy for Syracuse, who hasn't been um, anything special on the football end. But yeah, Tony White, the guy
yeah,
from Syracuse, is the defensive coordinator that we hired. Um, Last year, or this year, he is a Broyles Award nominee, which is top assistant coach in the nation. He's a two-time Mountain West Recruiter of the Year, top 30 in total defense in 2021 and 2022, and he's got major ties to the West and the Northeast in recruiting and stuff like that. This guy is legit. A lot of people thought the only way he would have left Syracuse was if he was getting a head coaching job, which a lot of people thought he was going to get. Maybe not this time around, but maybe next time around because he's a really smart guy. People love him. Players love him. He's a really good recruiter, which is really a common theme with all of the
yeah,
hires that we've
because
made.
a lot of our recruiters, at least in the past, Scott Frost, Mickey Joseph, guys like that, even Matt Rhule, are more on the side of offensive recruiting. We haven't had any big defensive names. Our big defensive names that have worked their way through the team have been homegrown guys.
Mhm.
We haven't had any big defensive names since like really Ndamukong Suh go through.
No, there was
Uh,
some. I'm trying to think. I guess if you count
oh
like transfer portal, like Tommy Hill was a big time name. Coming out of
yes,
the transfer
what
portal this year, Omar Brown was a big name.
Oton Mathis, I guess,
John
but
Mathis was good
you
too.
can't
Garrett
really. I mean,
Nelson,
you
I
can
think,
say
was a
Tommy Hill was.
three-star.
You can say Tommy Hill was a big name at the time, but he didn't even play
Right.
corner.
Yeah, no, he ended
So
up just playing receiver. So yeah, no, it's
I guess
definitely
Randy Gregory's in
Randy
there as
Gregory was a
well.
big name, but he was a JUCO guy too. So um,
Yeah, but like just straight recruiting out of high school, like we haven't had straight recruiting out of high school, real big defensive names in a long time. We've kind of developed those guys. So if we can get big defensive names, and that's where we've struggled the last few years, is our defensive front struggles, which ties up our linebackers, which forces our safeties to come up, which hurts us in the pass game. So to get a good defensive coordinator in here, a guy that has been up for awards not only in the defensive coordinator end, but also in the recruiting end, is huge, and I think very important for us.
Mhm. Yeah, 100%. And people are getting tied up because uh, Tony White ran a 3-3-5 at Syracuse, which is three down
Yeah,
linemen, three linebackers, five defensive backs. But I mean, common sense says he's going to have to switch it up a little bit. You can still
yeah,
run a
and I
variant. You can't run a three-man front in the Big Ten.
you
But
can
what he
even
kind of it's a little bit different. So what he runs is technically a 3-3-5, but really he has four linebackers because he has a roamer. So he's got two corners, two safeties, sometimes one safety, a nickel, and depending on all this, he usually has a nickel, but he usually has a roamer. So like kind of the Oklahoma defense and the Clemson defense that Brent Venables brought over to Oklahoma, where Isaiah Simmons played that roamer role. Jojo Doman kind of played that roamer role for Nebraska a couple of years ago. So um, he's really smart and he knows what he's doing. ACC, there's a lot of passing, so he did run that 3-3-5 with the most defensive backs as possible to stop that. But he's a really smart guy, so I'm sure he's gonna adjust and he's gonna figure it out.
yeah, I don't see anyone with his talent and his knowledge coming into the Big Ten and running a legit 3-3-5. I've heard people that have said he runs 3-3-5, but sometimes he'll even bring two linebackers as edge rushers down, so he's got 5-man front. Um, and they said the 3-3-5 that he runs is one that puts a lot of pressure on the quarterback, um,
A
and
lot of
stops the
blitz.
run. Yeah, a lot of blitzes, and I think that's what we need, honestly.
Yeah. So then moving over to our offensive coordinator, which I think was the first staff member that was announced after Matt Rhule got hired, Marcus Satterfield. Kind of up in the air what we're going to see from the offense this year because Marcus Satterfield at times have ran run heavy, pass heavy. Obviously, last year at South Carolina, he ran pass heavy. That's kind of a Shane Beamer type of offense. He was just a play caller. So we don't really know what he's going to run. I know he wasn't the OC at Baylor. He was the OC at Temple, where they put up over 400 yards a game, is what I want to say, which is their highest since 1970s, something like that. So
Yeah, that's
this guy's
terrible.
smart, and everything I've heard about him, he's really smart. He has coached with Matt Rhule a lot in the past. He worked with him
Yeah, he's
at
actually worked
Baylor and
under Matt
at
Rhule.
Temple.
Yeah, he's worked under Matt Rhule for 6 years, um, at Temple, Baylor, and in Carolina, as well. He has 11 years as an offensive coordinator, um, 2 seasons as a head coach of Tennessee and
Tennessee
at South
Tech, Tennessee
Carolina
Tech, Tennessee Tech.
or Tennessee Tech, and sorry, Tennessee
Big
Tech.
difference.
Yeah. Um, and at South Carolina, he was the offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach. And his biggest feat there was back to back wins over top 10 opponents, combining for 94 points and over 1,000 yards of total offense.
Yeah, those last two games against Clemson and Tennessee were really something to watch with Spencer Rattler and all their weapons over there just going nuts. And I'm excited because Marcus Satterfield is also the tight ends coach, and South Carolina has a tight end in the portal right now. He's kind of a tight end slash fullback slash running back slash receiver. He does a little bit of everything. That's a stud. I think he's ranked as one of the top 10 guys in the portal right now, Jaheim Bell. And he's already got some Twitter followers from Nebraska recruiters, Marcus Satterfield being one. So really excited to see if we can potentially move that guy, because Marcus Satterfield's really smart, and he may have some weird time at South Carolina where they didn't really look the best. I know in his first year at South Carolina, they were rotating quarterbacks. They actually had a legit grad assistant play quarterback for them one game. So just really dysfunctional. And once Spencer Rattler came in this year, once he seemed to get accustomed to the role in those Clemson and Tennessee games, he went off and the play calling looked really good. So really excited about Marcus Satterfield. And then another interesting hire was announced last night, with Donovan Raiola being the only staff member retained from the previous staff, which a lot of people, me included, was thinking this is the last guy that I think is going to get retained, just because it was the weakness of the team. The offensive line was the weakness of the team last year. But I don't know. I mean, Donovan Raiola was gifted. Not gifted. The situation he was given was really bad. The offensive line was already
Very
really
bad.
bad.
It's terrible.
The only problem that I have with Donovan Raiola is it didn't get any better. So I don't know.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Every good lineman he had on that team was either suspended,
Mhm.
injured, or had to be put in a spot that they aren't comfortable playing. Turner Cochran is a great example of this. Turner Cochran is a guard.
He's a
Turner
tackle.
Cochran,
He's a tackle.
okay,
He
he's
was
a
playing
tackle.
guard this year.
Okay, yes,
From
he is a tackle playing guard. And for casual football fans, that may not seem as a big deal, but it is. It is a huge deal because a tackle really doesn't move like a guard does, not even close. A guard moves a lot. Almost every run play, a guard is pulling from somewhere. Tackles really don't pull all that often. Tackles are very, very pass block heavy and have very good feet, but also at the same time aren't maybe as fast. And so it hurt us to have Cochran, a really good tackle, play at the guard position. Teddy Prochaska, who is supposed to be and has been said to be next level talent, we've never seen.
Well, he played.
Um,
He played in his first year, and he looked really good, which is why a lot of people really liked him. And then this year
yeah,
he got hurt, so he didn't get to play a lot this year.
I mean, he's also hurt last year too.
Yeah, he got hurt. He got hurt last year as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and so we haven't seen him for a while, and so that guy's out. And then I forget exactly who it was that got suspended for PEDs, but a very good interior linemen got suspended for PEDs as well. And so there's your three top linemen that are either suspended, hurt, or uncomfortable playing their position. It doesn't help. And it's not easy to develop linemen in a year. Like you need the entire offseason for that. Don and Raiola needed a really good lifting coach, a really good sports nutrition coach, which we have now to develop those guys and coach those guys up. And now that I don't know, I don't think it's terrible. I don't think it's
Mhm.
terrible. Keep. You're also not going to pull a lot of really good O line coaches from anywhere because O line coaches don't usually go up to offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator, and O line coaches don't usually get head coaching jobs, and so they pretty much stay O line coaches for their whole career. Maybe move up here or there, but why would the O line coach from Georgia come here? Why would the O line coach from anywhere in the Big Ten come here or the Big 12 come here when they already got a solid spot where they are? And so I don't think it's a terrible hire. He's also coached line at the in the NFL, and those are the top of the top guys. And so he knows what he's doing. Obviously, he's had jobs for um Notre Dame, Aurora, and Chicago Bears, and now here. And so he's obviously not a terrible coach. I'm not going to say it's the best hire we've made, but I'm not going to say it's something I'm mad about either.
Yeah, when I say confusing, I don't think I'm not upset about it because I trust Matt Rhule's decision making. I have no reason not to at this point. So if he decided that he wanted to keep this guy, I think um, I trust it, at least for now. I mean, we'll have to see what happens, but yeah, I trust it for now. Some of the other offensive staff, stop me if you want to talk about them. Jake Peets hasn't been confirmed. It's been a little weird. Said he was contingent on Mickey. Now with the whole Mickey situation, we haven't really heard about Jake Peets. He was rumored to be the offensive assistant / quarterback coach. EJ Barthel is someone that I'm really excited about
Yeah, it's a
for the
great
running
coach.
backs. He is really strong in recruiting. He really helped last year's UConn team, who UConn was down in the dumps as a team. I'm not just saying it was because of the running backs, but as a team, they were really bad. And then last year, he improved to, I think the running backs averaged over 4 yards a carry. They averaged over 200 yards a game. So he's a really good coach. And another thing is he's a really good coordinator or a really good recruiter. He was the recruiting director. I thought I saw it. I wrote it down. Um, yeah, he assisted with the running backs at Carolina. He's been on Rhule's staff. He worked in the player personnel department at Temple, and also at Temple, he was the director of player personnel on Rhule's staff. So he's really good. He's a really good recruiter. We've already seen pictures, and we've seen him go out to in-home visits, talk to these running backs, talk to these top guys. So really like the way that EJ Barstool has started his career at Nebraska. And then moving on to some defensive assistants, Terrence Knighton. He was an
Hang
NFL
on.
player.
Hang on. Stop on this one.
Okay.
Okay. I have seen people questioning the Terrence Knighton hire because he doesn't have much coaching experience, really. Um, he had 2 years at Wagner in 2019 and 2020, and that's really it.
Mm-hmm.
And here's my thought, right? This is why I think this is a great hire, and he's going to improve this defensive line incredibly. Terrence Knighton is not a naturally gifted player. He was not a 5 star out of high school. He was never, the great guy. He went to Temple, okay? And nothing against Temple, but the Temple hours are not people that are pulling top recruiting classes in the country. He worked his butt off, learned how to play the defensive line position perfectly, and ended up being a third round NFL draft pick out of Temple.
Mm-hmm.
That
This
to
is
me
before
is
Matt Rule.
incredibly
This was
impressive.
before Matt Rule too. So before Matt Rule went in there,
Yes.
developed a bunch of guys, sent them to the NFL. Terrence Knighton made a name for himself, and
Yeah. And so here's my thing. I've heard this so many times. I think it's so true. Really, really good coaches, whether it be baseball, football, basketball, wherever it may be, were not always the best players. Nick Saban, for example, was a defensive back for forget exactly who.
Yeah. I don't,
But he played small college
mhm.
and way back, played defensive back. These naturally gifted guys don't really know how they're good or what you have to do. And that's nothing against them. That that
Shout out to
they
Deion
were
Sanders.
naturally gifted. Yeah. Deion Sanders, honestly, doesn't he probably doesn't know how he's so good. He's just like, I'm just that good. And that's fair. I've seen it in the sport of wrestling so many times. Really good wrestlers will say, you'll ask them, like, how do you do that? And like, I don't know. I just do because I'm just naturally gifted like that. But guys like Terrence Knighton had to learn how to do it. And so they actually know how to teach it and they're not just naturally gifted that way. And I think that's a huge pickup for us. And with him being young, you can keep for a long time.
Hmm.
Um, and he obviously is a great player. He's a great player in the NFL, and he does have a little bit of coaching experience, and so we know he's not terrible by any means. But I do think Terrence Knighton's a really good hire, and I think he's going to do really well here.
Yeah, and then Derek Brown, a defensive tackle from the Panthers, came out and said like this guy is really good because Terrence Knighton did coach at the Panthers with Matt Rhule. He said this guy's going to coach you hard, but he's also going to treat you like family. And we saw that Terrence Knighton went on some in-home visits as well with some recruiters. So really, really optimistic about what Terrence Knighton can do. So then a linebacker coach that's been rumored is Rob Dvoracek. He was a Carolina defensive assistant. A lot of people thought he was going to be the defensive coordinator, but it turned out not to be true. Also played for Rhule at Temple. Evan Cooper, someone I'm super excited about, defensive back coach. He was the recruiting coordinator at Baylor in 2019. Um, he led Baylor to 3 consecutive top 35 recruiting classes, and then Baylor's 2018 signing class was re-ranked as a number 14 class nationally. So this guy knows what he's doing when it comes to recruiting, and that's really good. But also he knows how to coach football because um, Baylor's defensive backs were always really good, ranking fifth nationally in interceptions in 2019 and 18th in pass efficiency defense. This guy knows what he's doing, and he has relationship with Matt Rhule, coached with him as well, Carolina Panthers and Baylor. So, and Temple. So, um, really, really good guy to get. And then special teams coordinator, maybe the most experienced guy besides Matt Rhule, Ed Foley. He has over 30 years of coaching experience, coached special teams for a long time. He was a special teams assistant, I think, in Carolina with Matt Rhule. Has coached with him the last 4 seasons. So a lot of experience there. I think really similar to kind of the experience and the knowledge of Bill Bush, how he came in last year with
Yeah.
special teams.
I think you
So
could
really excited
compare
for
this
Ed
guy to
Foley.
Bill Bush. I think you can compare this guy to Bill Bush, but he might even be better than Bill Bush. In the last 4 of his 5 seasons at the collegiate level, his special team is ranked in the top 25 nationally.
Mhm.
So that's very consistent. I know it's not on this that I'm looking at, but I know they did have quite a few blocked field goals and return kickoffs for touchdowns. And so he knows what he's doing. He knows where to put people. And special teams, as we saw in 2021, is
Yeah.
so important. And as we
Yeah.
saw in 2022, having even an average special teams makes a world of difference. A
Hmm.
world of difference.
Yeah. 100%. And then some other hires. So Corey Campbell, the strength coach. I'm sure you guys have seen the picture by now. He's jacked. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to coach strength. He played under Matt Rhule, I believe. He was the strength coach with the Carolina Panthers. I worked with Rhule at Baylor. And then he held full-time positions at Purdue and Cincinnati. He was a Georgia graduate. So I actually did not play for Rhule. I guess I just completely made that up. But he was, I guess he was a
And
really
out
good player. Yeah, he was a really good
2015.
player for Georgia, and he is the new strength coach. And then some other guys. Adam DiMichele is someone that I've noticed a lot. He is the personnel scouting, or he's working in the personnel and scouting department. He's been on Twitter a lot. See him following a lot of guys in the transfer portal, a lot of recruits. Omar Hales, he was another special teams guy. So it looks like the only position that has not been filled yet. I guess we don't know about quarterback because we don't know what's happening with Jake Peets, but the wide receiver coach is still open. Um, obviously, I don't know what the situation is. Are they?
Nobody knows.
They're not.
I'm gonna go as far as saying the Mickey Joseph situation is kept more under wraps than the head coaching situation was all season.
Yeah, yeah. So,
No one knows.
um,
No one knows.
I'm guessing Mickey's not going to be the wide receivers coach. I think it's pretty
I've
safe
seen
to
things.
assume that.
I've seen things on both ends. I've seen Mickey Joseph is innocent. All charges will be dropped. I've seen it's going to get lowered to a misdemeanor. I've seen Mickey's going to get the book thrown at him. He'll never walk the streets again. I mean, I've seen it all. I've seen
Yeah,
every bit of it on every end. No one knows. No one
right.
has any clue, any idea. I have seen a guy post a picture with Mickey at like he was with Mickey at someone's house post game, or at some point, and claims he's a friend of Mickey's. Say this is all fake. None of this even
Right.
happened.
Yeah, I don't want to get into the speculation game, but I feel like it's pretty certain that it's not fake. I mean, there was a real
No,
police
yeah. So
report. There
I'm
was a
just saying
real,
it's
but yeah,
crazy.
no,
It's crazy that nobody knows. Guys
right,
that have literally been with Mickey, and that guy may not even be a friend. He may have just asked Mickey for a picture at a restaurant.
right. Yeah, it's a weird situation. I think it's safe to bet that Mickey's not going to be back on the staff next year, and that's as far as we need to go with that situation. So still looking for a receivers coach. Maybe Jake Peets gets like quarterback, offensive assistant slash receiver coach. I don't know. Maybe he gets some of that.
Maybe
Jake
Ohio
Peets,
State's receivers coach is looking for a new home.
he's not looking for a new job. That dude's got the best receiving core in the nation every single year. That dude's legit.
Actually,
That dude's looking
he
for
might
head
be looking.
coaching jobs.
Yeah, he might be looking for a new job as like an OC. But
OC or head coach. He's been rumored. He was rumored to
yeah,
Cincinnati's head coaching job. He's been rumored to
that's
Purdue's
true.
head coaching job. So he is, yeah, no, he's legit. He's legit.
Hey, but you know what? Um, Syracuse's our new Tony White was rumored to head coaching jobs, and here he is,
There you
still at
go.
DC.
That's true. Maybe Matt Rhule can just pay him the rest of the money on the books, and he can be the receivers coach.
We only got one spot left. I mean, we only got one spot left. Put it all on
Yeah.
there.
So yeah. Before we get out of here, I do want to mention I like the way the Big Ten West is looking next year. You got I
Yeah.
mean, obviously, this is a little biased. This is a little biased because we have a brand new
Here,
coach as
before we
well.
even get to the Big Ten West, here's what I want to say. This apparently, me or Caleb, not nearly old enough to remember the Colorado rivalry back in the day, but apparently it is not as friendly as we may have thought. I did some research today. I guess there have been times where Nebraska fans have been mauled at Colorado, beaten in the parking lot, cars with Nebraska plates being vandalized, uh, multiple drinks being dumped on children wearing Nebraska gear. And honestly, a lot of people are going to hate me for this, but I do not like Dion. Okay. I don't like him as a coach. I don't think what he's doing is right. I don't think he's going to be that good. I think he's going to get a great high school team in there, and they're going to be high schoolers for the rest of their career because no one's going to develop them because Colorado doesn't even have the money to pay Dion. So who the hell are you going to pay to come develop these
Hey,
guys?
no,
You're not.
they're actually getting some. They're building a really good staff. They got the Kent State head coach who was rumored to be up for a new head coaching job. They got him to go down to the OC for Colorado. They got Alabama's co-DC to be the DC at Colorado. Some other guys I think were hired, but I don't know. I don't know
Yeah,
exactly
that
who it was,
director
but
literally came out and said we don't have the money to pay
yeah,
Dion.
no, it's crazy. It's crazy. The whole
They're
situation's insane.
they're banking on the fact that he's gonna
I
do
do
something
think
crazy.
that they're gonna. I mean, Colorado's gonna be better than they've been, which I mean, you can't get
I
much
bet they're
worse.
5-7. I bet they're 5-7 next year.
Well, I
And I
hope
bet we
so.
beat them by 21.
I hope so. I hope so. It's I think it's a little early to say that since we don't even know what the roster for Nebraska or Colorado is currently going to look
I
like.
don't care. I don't care. Also, to all those Nebraska fans saying "I told you so," we should have got Dion. No, absolutely not.
There's a reason. Listen to this. It's all based on
I
market,
don't even
right?
think Dion was. I don't even think Dion was contacted by
He was
Trevor. I don't even
contacted. He was 100% contacted. I don't know if it's proven, but he was 100% contacted. I think everybody was contacted. I think Lane Kiffin was contacted. I think
okay.
Urban
Yeah.
Meyer was contacted. I think Nick Saban was contacted about Lane Kiffin. So I think everybody was contacted in this. But
Sure.
you
I
look
don't think I don't think Dion was ever an option. I
no, I
don't.
don't know if Dion was ever a serious option, but you gotta reach out just to see. But no, here's what I want to say about this. I will say Dion was not very high on the priority of Nebraska because it's all based on market, right? So you look at how much these coaches are getting paid. They're getting paid this much because other schools were offering close, maybe a little bit less than this. So you look, Matt Rhule's making what, 9 million, $8 million a year,
Eight
making eight
now. He
million dollars.
tops out about 12 and a half.
Right. He's making that now. It's going to grow with inflation and everything. It's not even going to be that bad of a contract in a few years. But I don't think it's a bad contract right now. That's not what I was trying to say. But
Matt
you
Rhule's
look
gonna
at
flip this team. I think he could. I'd be okay with paying him 10.
sure. But then you look at Luke Fickle's contract, I think 7.2 was his. That's because nobody offered him more than that. Maybe he wanted to go to Wisconsin. Maybe it was around there, but you're not going to be like, Nebraska's going to pay me 9, but I'll take 7.2 from you guys. Like, you may have a preferred destination, but you're still going to negotiate a little bit and you're still going to get the most money you can out of these schools. So for Dion only to get $5 million from Colorado, it's not like he was like, I see Colorado as a destination job. He's not from there. He has no relations there. He's from the Southeast. Like,
They suck.
they suck.
I
So
mean,
I
you
don't
think
think, I mean,
Nebraska's bad,
Colorado,
dude? Colorado is bad.
talk about, I mean,
I mean, we would have
I'm
spanked
not
Colorado.
trying to, I'm not trying to bash on Colorado at all because I mean, it's a Power Five job. It's Pac-12, Power Five job. A lot of rumors saying Colorado could go to the Big 12 in the next couple of years. So, um, a lot of good things at Colorado. Apparently, it's a beautiful campus. But like, yeah, it it's all based on market. So I don't think Dion was ever offered more than what he got at Colorado. But
Screw
yeah,
Colorado.
we're gonna have a TikTok definitely with that conversation that we just had about Dion. So make sure you follow the TikTok. Make sure you follow all the socials: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok. Always updates over there. And then remember to subscribe, like the video, click the bell. Zach, you got anything else?
That's all from
We
me.
will be back next week with more updates, possibly on recruiting, transfer portal stuff. Hopefully, there's some more announcements by then. Hopefully, Casey's announcement has come by then. So we'll be making a video on that next week. Don't know if we'll have 2 videos out next week. Wouldn't count on it. Still finishing up some finals and stuff on both ends. So
Thursday for sure, or I guess
Thursday for sure.
Friday.
Yeah.
Friday is when it'll come
Well, it'll
out.
come
But
out
yeah,
Friday. We'll record it Thursday. Right. Yeah. So, yeah. Zach, you got anything else before we head out?
nope.
All right. Make sure you subscribe, click the bell, like the video. Go Big Red.